from Lalate News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings Lalate.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great details about your forced stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats will likely give you more months of checks. Then deal. Deal is done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under the forced stimulus recon. We have an agreement, and there will be $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. I'll go over some of those checks that you're getting under this forced stimulus recon. And then the bill, the vote. We have a date set for a vote. It's next week. But we also have a shocking Plan B. You're hearing it for the first time on this broadcast. In the final 15 or the final 14, you will hear the most condensed, the most elaborate set of events that are happening between now and the end of next week, and getting ready for a lot of breaking news. Then we turn to Fifth Stimulus Recon that raises your benefits up if you're SSI, SSDI, VA. But the new jobless numbers were released this morning, and they're horrible. Does it impact this number? And then we turn to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get, like Nisi, who got $23,000, Louie, who got $18,000, John, who got $12,000. It's your day to get this big money as well. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to the breaking news, starting right here on Mornings Lalate. Hope your week is going beautiful. How's the weather where you are? It got hot here again in LA. Oh, it was cool, then it was hot, then it was hot, and now it's hot again. It was supposed to be cooler today. I don't know what's going on. Jump in the live chat. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Boy, we have a lot of breaking news today, folks. The final 15 or the final 14 of this video, you're just absolutely going to be just sort of shocked by the amount of news coming out. But first, we're going to go over that monthly stimulus check. The Democrats represent you're getting one, and I'll go over why you're likely to get more checks than initially thought. Then we turn to the recon. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of other checks. I'll be going over what these other checks are. It's all deliciousness. And then we turn to the vote. We have a vote date set for next week. I'll go over what that vote means for you, how it's going to work, and is there a plan B set up in case something goes wrong. And then we turn to fifth stimulus, raising your benefits up if you're SSI, SSDI, VA, but we had that shocking, horrible number for unemployment that came out this morning. I'll explain whether this impacts this number or not. And then we turn to the big money across the board that viewers continue to get. $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 from this channel. I'll show you how you can get this money as well. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning like right now and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Mornings Crypto live on air. It's back with you. And then at noontime, I believe, it will be live on air as well. Then Afternoons LA taped with a brand new show just taped seconds ago. And then Evenings LA. There may also be an additional Afternoons LA after you loved that new throwback at 1 o'clock. It may be brought back into the mix. Jump in the live chat if you like that extra 1 o'clock show. And subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Fastest growing channel there is in 1 year. 400,000 in 1 year. Next off, 1 million. Like the video. 3,000 likes and consider becoming a member. Let's cut right to that breaking news starting right now. Monthly stimulus checks. Well, by all accounts, the pandemic ain't over, and that would mean more months of checks. When you look at the House bill versus Senate, suddenly it all starts to change. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal, July to December. Let's look at the payouts. House bill, $2,000 first month, $1,000 thereafter. Senate amount unknown. But word on the street, the Senate monthly amount would be this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. 3 weeks ago, we thought maybe the pandemic was not over. 1 week ago, we thought the pandemic is not over. Last week, we thought the pandemic is certainly not over. And this week, we are absolutely adamant the pandemic's not over. Delta cases out of control here in LA County in less than 48 hours. Massive surging among young adults. Florida out of control. 50 states showing a massive surge of Delta. That means that the House bill would likely pay pandemic plus 1 year, which would be more than 12 checks, which would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this. I think I have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. I want to see you vote in House or Senate. Well, things change quickly, but the Democrats want to give you a forced stimulus check if you got a third. Who also gets a forced stimulus check? Well, single individuals, 75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, my veterans, everyone else, Democrats want you to have a forced stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. It would be a stimulus check for adult dependents and everyone else. And the forced stimulus check's not waivable. So if I should have known better, because I was recording live at the beach on Sunday, and I was on the beach recording live, and a viewer said, "Hey, Lalate, is that the check behind you on the beach?" This is the actual exchange live on air, no joke. And I said, "Is that the check? Let me wave at the check." "Yeah, go wave at the check, Lalate." So I waved at the check. The check didn't wave back. I said, "Rude check." The viewer said, "LA, it's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check. I've seen your videos." The forced stimulus check would land in the month of July for the month of July, and in the month of August for the month of August, those Democrats represent. But in the second part of this video, deal. You're getting $3.5 trillion of other checks as well in the fourth stimulus recon. Every walk of life, every part of life, seniors, workers, everyone is getting checks, 3.5 trillion of them. I'll be here to ensure you get every penny of them, but in the second part of this video, I'll go over what they are. Then the final 15 or the final 14. Oh my goodness. The final 15 minutes of this video is the most jam-packed 15 you have ever seen. So stay to the very end, put your feet up, and just sort of get ready to get a lot of information in a very densely packed 15 minutes. It's a lot, but I'll make it easy for you. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's for stimulus, and it raises your benefits up, but the unemployment number was horrible this morning. Will that impact this? I'll explain the details. But first, let's get some money. Boy, you are killing it. Nisi, 23,000. Louis, 18,000. John, $12,000. What's going on? Well, I had started recording these videos a few weeks ago saying I can get you $5,000 of rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. Now viewers are getting $20,000 of rent from this channel, from this video. This is this channel, like Nisi. I said that I can get you utilities, $300. Now viewers daily are getting $3,000 in utilities. Wow. And then when I talked about Snap, I can get you $5,000 to $6,000 of money for Snap. Viewers are getting $10,000, like John, $10,000 to $12,000. Louis got $18,000. So post the rent you got in the live chat right now. Post the utilities you got in the live chat right now. Post the Snap you got in the live chat right now. Get a pen and paper ready, and we're going to go over all the incredible details starting right now. But first, what's going on? This is what this channel does. This channel is not a check tracking channel. It's a check cashing channel. In April of last year, this channel launched, and it was not to track the EIDL check because it wasn't coming. We eventually cashed $25 million of EIDL loan checks on this channel. Viewers, I got $25 million of EIDL loans that were not approved until this channel launched, and I helped get their applications approved. But then in fall of last year, it was the same situation. Second stimulus checks were not going out yet because it was not law yet. So there was no check to track, but there were checks to cash. And I got viewers $250,000 of rent in the fall. Like Tyrone, family of four out of Boston, got $14,000 at the time. Now we're doing it again. So get that pen and paper ready. I'm going to go over several items for you to get money for. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners utilities. I'm going to show you different places to reach out to. Each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next. They have different eligibility. Always apply. Also use the keywords. People tell you my keywords really are helpful. Get that pen and paper ready. And if it must be a Crayola crown, it's not muddled and it's not teal anything, and certainly not KC. Sorry, Canute. So here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or teal monster. Color wheel, teal monster, range of options. They don't know any of that. So there you go. Congratulations, Tim and Linda, who got this wonderful pot of money. If you got a rent, post in the live chat right now. The next pot of money is Snap. Oh, John, congratulations, my friend. $10 to $12,000 a snap. Incredible. Louis, $18,000 for Snap. Congratulations, my friend. It's incredible. The numbers are out of control. What is Snap? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture, reach out to them. How much does it pay? A lot. Family of four out of Hawaii gets paid upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow, why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got it as well. And you're killing it. We're killing it. We're only 10 minutes in this video, and we've gotten $5,000, $6,000 at least for rent, but some viewers are getting $20,000. We've gotten $5,000, $6,000 for Snap at least, but some viewers are getting $18,000. Post your Snap success stories on the live chat right now. And we have another pot of money, and starting right now. It is the refund check back from your state due to overpayment with a computer error. The federal government has ordered to pay back to you. Where? Direct deposit. When? Reach out to your state. Say, hey, state, where is that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that actually works this time? And finally, the refund check back from IRS for that unemployment benefits. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it. But some of you may not have got it yet, and IRS has an update for us. An update is that they're coming out weekly, these checks, in waves. And so the latest wave, the average refund, is about $1,265. Wow, wonderful. Direct deposit started July 14th, and those with paper checks start again July 16th. There'll be a new wave of checks from IRS every week. Wow. So if you're at the beach and you see the IRS, then no, we're not going to do that. If you have gotten this money, post in the live chat right now as well. Why is it important to post in the live chat? 3 reasons. 1, when you post your money, that inspires other people to get the money. They realize, wait a second, there's a lot of money. How can I not be getting this? I need to go get this money. Number 2, you suddenly see people like Art Sullivan who got 3 items, and maybe you only got 1 item. You realize, wait a second, I'll go get the other items. Number 3, it updates us about the numbers. So when we see the numbers and our eyeballs pop out, when we see $18,000 for Snap, really? Oh boy, the numbers are going higher. It also updates us about when things are being received. Let's turn to this unemployment refund check. Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. $5,000 you paid taxes on. The $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment part. Congratulations, get back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit or otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah. About 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, sign in, and do a transcript search with your username and password. It'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid. It'll reveal stuff you never wanted to know. It'll reveal when Mitch appeared on Star Search and did that song in support of Chuck. Was the song Slave to You by Britney? And can we top that? We can. The final also reveal the tax return check you're getting back from IRS. Can we top that? We can. Here we go. Second part of your 4 stimulus update starting right now. Deal done. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks under the 4 stimulus recon. Yes. In addition to anything else covered in this channel, in this video, you're getting also $3.5 trillion of checks under the 4 stimulus recon for all walks of life, detailed later in this video, from seniors to workers to single individuals, all different types of people getting $3.5 trillion. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to show you get all this money when it becomes law. Now, how do we get to this wonderful spot? Because originally the recon was this behemoth that had roads and bridges in there. And it was not passable at the time, so they took the roads and bridges out and they shrunk it. And they shrunk it to a smaller price tag, but then added a few things in there and got a price tag they agreed upon, $3.5 trillion. Deal done. Remember this hand gesture, because it's coming up later in this video because of a shocking development you're going to see for the first time on Mornings LA. So why was this taking the roads and bridges out so important? Because it made the recon passable, which it now is, with a $3.5 trillion price tag. A conservative publication confirms my reporting. The higher the price tag was originally for the recon, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending and put it into the bipartisan deal, roads and bridges, it made the recon bill smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry, Mitch. Sorry to set you up. But Mitch doesn't feel set up because suddenly you're going to see the Republicans laying this video ready to call a vote. Really? Yes, it's coming up in the final 15 of the final 14. The Republicans love the infrastructure. And once they had shrunk the recon to take roads and bridges out, put it over into the infrastructure, the progressives were able to add some stuff back in, and they got a price tag, $3.5 trillion, big and bold, as big as they wanted it. And this is what they had been asking for. Representative Ilhan Omar had been asking for a recon legislation that goes as far as we wanted. You got it, Elon. Congratulations, $3.5 trillion. And then Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a larger recon bill. You got it, Richie, $3.5 trillion. The Progressive Caucus had been meeting with the White House daily to ensure that the amount was big enough. And why was this important? Because the progressives were protecting the recon. Why? Because $3.5 trillion of checks is all progressive policies. And that was confirmed by Brian Schatz, that the White House said that everything in that recon, those checks and more checks for you, $3.5 trillion, are all progressive priorities. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Let's now turn to what a recon is, what it does, how it gives you money, and how it gets passed. First, let's understand the names of recon, reconciliation, everything you need to know about names. On this channel, you hear me say just two words, recon or reconciliation, and bipartisan. Unfortunately, broadcast media uses other words, so you need to hear those so you don't get confused as to which one is which. Remember, there's only two paths, but you need to know the other names for these two paths. Recon, also called reconciliation, also called budget bill. You'll recognize it by its price tag, $3.5 trillion. You'll recognize it by the people that are quoted in the articles, like a Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, also called infrastructure or roads and bridges. You recognize it by its price tag, $1.5 trillion, and its proponents, a Mitt Romney, a Kristen Sinema, or a Ron Portman. So there you go. What is a recon? A recon stands for reconciliation. It's a bill written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. Here's a side anecdote. You're going to laugh at this one. On Overnight's Crypto, someone jumped to the live chat and said, I called up Susan Collins to ask about our recon, and she said there's no stimulus check in the recon. We're not getting anything in the recon from her. Susan Collins is a Republican. Republicans have nothing to do with the recon. She's not giving you a stimulus check, and she's not giving you a recon either. So you're calling up the wrong person, folks. Here's what you need to know if you don't know already. A recon is written by Democrats, not Susan Collins, for Democrats, not Susan Collins, to be passed by Democrats, to be voted against by Susan Collins. The recon is a legislation that is ultimately written in subcommittees. The lead authors are House subcommittees. Senate subcommittees also are part of the discussion. Under the Constitution, House subcommittees are delegated different subject matters. House Ways and Means is delegated the subject matter of stimulus checks, also unemployment benefits. When each of those subcommittees are done, they send the pages they've written up to Chuck. Let's say it's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages. That's 100 pages. They send them up to Chuck, and he puts a big, bold S on it. And not for Schumer, for Senate. That is your bill. There you go. There is your recon. Now, what broadcast media and I both confirm and agree upon is that we have not seen the recon because the Democrats will not show it to us until it finally has that S on it. This is not unusual because it's like a pop singer who has an album coming out. She doesn't want to show you or let you hear the tracks until the album's released. Under the Constitution, there's no requirement for those subcommittee members to show you what they're writing, what they're not writing, what they're voting, what they're not voting, what they're passing, what they're not passing. They don't have to show you. And ultimately, this is why it's important to understand is that you're going to see it when you see it. Hence, if you see a comment like this, the comment is unfounded. I haven't heard of any of that in the recon. Well, the reason why you haven't heard it is because no one's seen the recon. Can we top that? We can. As Jalapal has called the vote on the recon for some time. Jalapal wrote a letter to Schumer saying, Chuck called the vote on the recon. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are among the 100 plus who had written the president a letter saying, we want and we're going to put in monthly stimulus checks. Wow, 100 of them? That's a lot of people. Yeah, can we top that? Yes, as 7 members of the House Ways and Means subcommittee, wait, the subcommittee you were just talking about? Yep, that one, wrote the president a letter recently and said, we're putting monthly 4th stimulus recon checks in the 4th stimulus recon. Wow, that's wonderful, great news. It is, but you have to hold them to their promise. They also wrote your 3rd stimulus recon, and they're giving you a 5th. That's coming up later in this video. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As Biden has done it, he went overseas about 5 weeks ago and had a ceremonial signature for something, but now it became law this week. What is that thing? The global minimum corporate tax rate minimum. Oh, tongue twister. Why is this great news? Because it's a tongue twister. No joke. It's great news because it makes it easier to pass the four stimulus recon because it's not in there. First, it makes it easier to write the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. It makes it easier to call vote on the four stimulus recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. It makes it easier to vote on the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And it makes it easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. Boy, can we top that? We can. The final 15 of the final 14 coming up is the most jam-packed, elaborate, condensed 15 minutes you've ever seen on this channel. I'm going to make it as easy breezy and clear to you because it could be insanely complicated if I didn't do otherwise. I'm going to go over a vote that's set for next week. Yes, finally. I'm going to go over the $3.5 trillion of checks you're getting under the four stimulus recon. Yes, finally. And I'm going to go over Plan B. Who? What Plan B? Yeah, there's a Plan B. Okay, I'm ready. Let's get it going. I'm ready for that final 15. Oh, boy. And first, we're going to go over fifth stimulus. With the unemployment numbers horrible this morning, does that impact it? I'll explain the details. But first, something more wonderful, the volunteers. If you've had problems finding that rent, that internet, that SNAP, don't worry. The volunteers will help you. How do you find the volunteers? Open the description of this video. Go down the description. You'll see an emoji of a house. Click that link. It'll send you to the community page. The community page, news.lalate.com/community. On the community page, the volunteers will help you get rent, utilities, internet, and SNAP, and mortgage assistance. Here's a little bit about them, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with a huge final 15 of the final 14. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the excitement continues on this big morning's broadcast with the most important final 15 of final 14 you have heard ever on this channel. A lot of breaking news. It's very elaborate, but I'm going to try to make it as simple for you to understand. So get ready to sort of open up your brain cells and get a lot of information in a short period of time, because it's a lot and it's going to make your head spin, but I'm going to make it easy breezy for you. Well, also coming up is fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up, and also subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. 400,000 in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps. And consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Morning's Crypto on this channel, then noontime, then afternoons, and then evenings. And I may add that additional afternoon show at 1 o'clock because you loved it yesterday. Stay tuned for more. Let's cut right to fifth stimulus first with the surprising news as fifth stimulus is getting taken care of for you by the senators and the House members after the president didn't take care of it. You know, the president had promised this during the campaign trail, and he did not deliver this SSI and SSDI and VA reform. And now the congressional Democrats are taking care of it for you. This is this fall. This is fifth stimulus. This would go to a vote by October, November, hit your bank accounts by November, and then the benchmark in December. Let's go over the details. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll add a new inflationary benchmark, remove the asset cap, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over how this works and how it calculates for you. It's all incredible, great news. This is what was promised to you during the campaign trail. It's happening. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad Benefits, Veterans Benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries, yes, raised up one big time. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. That benchmark will be applied right after it becomes law, likely in December. That benchmark is inflation. Is inflation going up? It is. Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill last week that inflation will reach its highest point, a transitory point, later this year in December. What is transitory? It means temporary. It means a spike, and then it comes back down. Yes, just when they apply our benefits, yes sirree. Now, what happened this morning? The unemployment claims came in, and they were horrible. This is people who were employed all last year, all this year, and showed up to work last week and was laid off? Horrible numbers. Does that impact this number for fifth stimulus? No. Inflation gauges how much costs of goods are sold. So how much does milk cost? How much does eggs cost? How much does gasoline cost? That's what inflation. Unemployment does eventually impact inflation, but not immediately. And this week, we've seen the 10-year Treasury note go up and down as well. Does that impact inflation? No. That impacts growth. Inflation is its own universe, and it's determined by how much things cost. So first, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime, then they'll apply that benchmark. Let's say it's 5%, which is what I and Wall Street are saying, or Wall Street and I are saying. And that means your benefits will step up 5%. Not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Wow. Then they'll remove the income cap dating back to, and they never step down. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, then your benefits will be +5, +2%. Incredible news. Next, they're going to move the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some stimulus checks and nothing muddled, nothing KC either. Sorry, Canute. They're going to get rid of the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits nor be penalized. And that's fifth stimulus. Now, if you're in the live chat and you notice people posting comments with an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name, consider getting one as well. There's a link under the video where it says join here. The reason why those people with the emoji of a hawk are getting big sums of money on the live chat is because they're members. They've learned from the daily emails I send to them via the YouTube community page of the big monies that's available to you. When second stimulus passed, and it was a $600 stimulus check, I said, I'll get you $6,000. I didn't get viewers 6,000. I got them 15,000, like Tyrone out of Boston. When third stimulus passed, I said, I'll get you, instead of a $1,400 stimulus check, I'll get you $14,000. I'm getting viewers like $23,000 for Nisi. So there you go. And when fourth stimulus passes and there's $3.5 trillion of checks, I'll be getting all those checks for you as well. We'll be going check after check to ensure you get every single one of them. So consider becoming a member. And with that, we go into our final 15 of the final 14, starting right here, right now. Here we go. It's a lot. We're going to start with the recon, then go to the bipartisan, back to the recon, then back to the bipartisan, and then finishing with the recon. Yeah, it's literally like that today. So here we go. Number one, deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. They have agreed, they're passing it, and they've agreed on the price tag. As Tim Kaine says, this is critical because this ensures that the money's going out. All they have to do is slide the money into the different programs. Number two, the price tag is historic, as Bernie Sanders says. He went into the meetings asking for $7 trillion and sliced it in half and said, I can get the same amount of money out just in a shorter period of time. Clearly, instead of, let's say, 10 years of programs, he's doing the same programs for 5 years. Yes, he is ecstatic because there's $3.5 trillion of checks for the American people of all walks of life. He calls it a historic day in the country. Now, early in this video, I told you that we would not see what's in the recon until we see the recon, but here's what you need to know. I have some of the details leaked out. So here are some of the checks, not all of the checks. Free school meals checks for all, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, money for elections checks, internet checks. They're going to give fortunes to local cities so that they have their own internet company so that they provide it to you for free. Clean energy checks, and then here come my checks for my seniors and my checks for my workers. Workers get checks, unions checks, collective bargaining checks, independent contractor checks, seniors checks, Medicare expansion checks, lower eligibility for checks, dental checks, vision checks, and hearing aid checks. Wow. Now that's wonderful news. Let's turn over to bipartisan next. Bipartisan. Last Thursday, Mitt Romney said that the deal provisions of the bipartisan will get done in the next few days. They worked last weekend and they're nearly done. Yesterday, a vote was called. I went over that vote extensively yesterday and the day before, but let me go over it again if you're new to this channel or you missed those videos. The vote yesterday was called by Chuck Schumer, a vote that I predicted would fail. What was the vote for? It was a vote to end discussion and negotiations on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges. Not a vote on the bill, just a vote to end discussion and negotiations on it in a few days from now. I did not expect it to pass. It did not pass, but it absolutely worked. Why did it work? Because the purpose was to put fire under the feet of the bipartisan group to get it done. And what happened? Here comes the wonderful news. Minutes after the vote failed, Ron Portman, more about him later in this video, Ron Portman delivered to Chuck Schumer a letter signed by 12 Republicans saying that they are ready to vote and pass in the Senate the bipartisan next week. Yes, that means that they say the bipartisan will be ready for a vote for the bill and will pass next week. Yes. Now, the letter was delivered by Ron Portman. What did Mitt Romney say last week? Romney said last week that this week he anticipates that the vote could be called on the bipartisan. Since that comment by Mitt Romney last week, I said, I don't think it's coming this week, the vote. I think it's coming next week. Mainstream media said the same. I think it's a little too hard to get it done this week, the bipartisan. Well, here we go. It's exactly what I had said. Next week is what Ron Portman is representing. Now, here is the great news about that as well. Remember, the recon, your money, has to go for a vote before the bipartisan. And it has to go for a vote before the bipartisan, not months before, just, hours before or days before. So the recon could go for a vote this week, if not early part of next week. Yes, incredible, great news. Which brings us back to the recon, people. All right. Are you ready for the part that could be very confusing, but I'm going to slow it down to make it easy and breezy for you to understand? Here we go. When I do my coverage, I rely upon a lot of different news outlets. And there's one that I often mention to you that's conservative. And as being conservative, it always has a slant of an angle in its reporting. Very negative Democrats. Well, today it put out an article that does have some direct quotes in there from Bernie and Jalopal, but is more negative Republican on a conservative publication. So it's a little strange. That's why I'm prefacing what I'm about to tell you where this is coming from. The article in the conservative publication today says that while Ron Portman says, and those 11 Republican senators say the vote will be ready on the bipartisan next week and they're ready to pass it, the Democrats are ready for Plan B. What's Plan B? This is the first time you're hearing Plan B. Plan B, according to this conservative publication, is that Democrats are attentive, not worried, but attentive, of history with Republicans over the last 20 years, where Republicans said they're ready to call a vote, don't call the vote, and run out the clock, and then Democrats are left holding nothing. And so the Democrats, and it does cite a quote from Bernie Sanders and Jalopal, say that if the vote does not happen with the Republicans on their bipartisan roads and bridges next week, the Democrats are going to Plan B. What's Plan B? Plan B is, drum roll, putting roads and bridges back into the recon. What? Wait a second. Did I hear that right? Putting roads and bridges back in the recon after we took it out of the recon? Wait a second. Before July 4th, you were doing this hand gesture thing on every single video. Before July 4th, it was big, and we had to take them out, and then we shrunk, and now they made passable. Now we're going to put them back in? Wait, what? Excuse me? Okay, so Bernie Sanders does have a quote that says, well, we could put some of the roads and bridges back into the recon if the Republicans don't get it done. Jalopal does not talk about putting the roads and bridges back in, but does talk about just going forward with the recon. Here is my opinion of the situation, because I think at this point I have to insert my opinion of the situation. If Mitt Romney says something's ready for a vote, then I believe him. If Ron Portman says something's ready for a vote, I don't believe him. That's sort of my opinion of the situation. If you've been with this channel for a year, you've seen what Mitt Romney's history has been. You've seen what Ron Portman's history has been. Ron Portman, I've done a gazillion videos about him in summer of last year when the pandemic was making people homeless, was saying, get back to work, you're lazy, I'm going to cut off your unemployment benefits. That's Ron Portman. So do I trust Ron Portman? No. Do I trust Mitt Romney? Yeah, I really trust Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney got your second stimulus over the finish line. I did videos about that yesterday. He's the guy that always gets things done for the Republicans. He just moves quickly. He writes quickly. So if Mitt Romney says that the vote is ready for the bipartisan next week, I believe him. I really do believe him. If Ron Portman says it, I take it with a grain of salt. Now, Bernie trying to put roads and bridges back in the recon, I just think that's not a good idea. I just don't think that's a good idea. I would presume that the Democrats that didn't like the roads and bridges in there before are not going to like the roads and bridges back in there for 3 weeks later. It's just only been 3 weeks ago since they said they don't like it in there. Okay, so here's something that'll help you with the analysis, and this is where the good news comes. Chuck Schumer did yesterday what Chuck Schumer does best. He brought in his Democrats. And yes, those certain Democrat senators that you always wonder about, are they going to mess things up? He brought them in as well. And he spoke to them. And they reportedly, according to the article, told Schumer they're ready to pass the recon if the bipartisan group does not get the infrastructure done. Yes. Meaning that they made the effort. They made the effort to give the roads and bridges to the bipartisan group. And if this bipartisan group does not want to get the vote ready and wants to just, drag their feet, even the most problematic Senate Democrats have now allegedly agreed they're going to pass the recon now, because at this point they see we put the effort in. This is if it doesn't get done next week, it's complete stalling by the bipartisan group, and all these Democrats are ready to pass it. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. You see why I told you this final 15 and final 14 is jam-packed today. It really, really is. What's important for you to know is that when looking at things in the next few days, things are going to change by the hour. Who knew there was going to be a plan B? Who knew that plan B would even be plan B? I don't even feel comfortable calling it plan B, because it sounds like they've all agreed that it's plan B. They've not agreed that it's plan B. They've not agreed that they're going to put the roads and bridges back into the bipartisan, into the recon. But they have agreed, according to this one article, that they will pass the recon if the bipartisan stalls anymore, because at this point they realize, wait a second, this has to get done. $3.5 trillion of checks for the American people are in that recon. That's a lot of checks. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to ensure that you get every penny of those checks. We're also going to push to ensure that stimulus checks go out. On early mornings LA today, someone posted a comment in one of the comments, and this is what the comment said: I can't wait to see the vote on the bill to see what I'm getting. That is something that I hope my videos have taken your understanding to go beyond. There's 12 steps of voting, and with 12 steps of voting, well, and potentially more than 12 steps, because I talked to you the last few days about how they may still be a Senate vote-a-rama at the very end. There's more than 12 steps of voting. At every step of the voting process, they can modify things. So when you're seeing that S bill from Chuck, that is not the finality of anything. It can get modified throughout those 12 steps. And yesterday, the House Democrats made it very clear they're not a cheap date in their own words. They will modify things that they want to modify. You can modify things that you want to modify. So for that viewer who says he just wants to see the bill and put his feet up and hold the donut, no. Purple power push. You've got to push purple power because it ain't done. Even if it's in there, it can come out. Even if it's not in there, it can go back in. Even if it's in there, it can go up, it can go down, it can go out in eligibility, it can go all over the place. A lot of money and a lot of movements and a lot of moving parts. And you see why I stay with the details. I don't think there could be any more details than what is in this video. But I'm next back with you with Mornings Crypto live on air in about 2 minutes from now, and then we go into noontime. I may add an additional afternoon show at 1 o'clock before our normal show of Afternoons LA, which is new today at 3 o'clock. And with that, subscribe. With 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family, and subscribe. Also, if you know the information of stuff that's going on and someone's confused in the comments, enlighten them now that you know the information as well. Tell them to become a subscriber as well. Like the video, 2,000 to 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with Ally for more.